Awesome, thank you.
Hello, mate.
Hey Scott, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Um, well, John Wick's awesome. But so I just wanted to get started with how long did the sort of process of getting you into this character, this unrecognizable character, how long did that sort of take, uh, prep wise? And then for you as a someone who does a lot of stunts, it's like how long did it sort of take you to get like acclimated to your bigger sort of mass?
Took about 3.5 hours every day to get everything on. And the prosthetics were around here like this mainly. So there's a lot of weight pulling it forward. You feel it in the mid back a lot, in the neck. Um, but it wasn't that heavy. The suit wasn't that heavy. It was more this that was the problem. Um, and then with the action, you never got acclimated to it really. It's
Mm,
uncomfortable fat suit with a big, like loads of marzipan on your face. You know, it wasn't comfortable. So you just got to get on with it. You just got to grit your teeth and get into your happy place and go for it.
yeah, absolutely. And that's such a cool sequence. And then when you're talking to Chad about this role, like was there any sort of backstory you created for yours? Because he has a history with John's cousin and or John's sister and John as well, and it's like and the high table obviously. So what kind of backstory did you discuss about Killa?
Um, well, some of it changed, to be honest, when I watched when I watched the movie. Uh, and Chad wasn't so much concerned about that. You let me go and do my own thing. What's on the page is what they're going to see. It's important that I have in my head how I feel about the different characters and what's got me to that position. Um, but look, they could write a prequel and it could all be completely different from what I've got in my head. Um, what matters is that it helps me on the day. So I had a fair idea of where he'd come from and what had led to him being the way he was. Um, but yeah, I'll keep it to myself because it could all change or be wrong.
Gotcha. And then you're working with like your first scene is with Keanu and Donnie and Shamir, and it's like so. What was your experience getting to work? I mean, you worked with Donnie before, but like, what was your experience working with Keanu and seeing him in his John Wick sort of persona?
It was great when he goes, "I'm going to kill you." It's like, whoa, John Wick's just staring at me saying he's going to kill me. There was a moment where I was taken out and I thought, oh, Jesus, John Wick. Um, no, it was great. There was a bit of pressure because I'm brought in and I'm in this fat suit, and I think everyone's a bit like, is this going to work? What are we doing here? There was a ton of dialogue, and I've got to play this part. And so, there was pressure, but I was ready, and I just wanted to have fun. Um, and I really enjoyed it actually. I really relished playing the character.
And so, like, speaking of the fat suit, like, how long did it? Because until we got your first look, we are just expecting to see, you in the movie, but then you come out as this completely different person. So, like, how long did it take people to sort of like click, oh, that's Scott Adkins up there, or like your friends and family?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. Because I actually thought I'd look much different. I thought that I would be unrecognizable. And then when I first put it all on, I thought, oh, well, yeah, it's clearly me. It's just a fatter version of me. But some people I know didn't recognize me and they knew I was in the movie and they were still waiting for me to crop up. Um, so I think the initial idea was, I think it was better if people didn't know who I was. And then when the character starts doing martial arts, that's got a shock value to it because you don't expect this big fat guy to start doing all those kicks. But
Mhm.
obviously, anyone who knows me and what I'm known for will figure it out beforehand. But ultimately, I think what Chad wanted was a character actor and completely disappear into that. And then when he starts doing the martial arts, it's a bit like, oh shit, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when this, I know Chad a little. Well, I mean, I've interviewed him one time, but it's like, um, he's very detail oriented about these shoots. So like how much prep work went into this whole massive sequence that you guys have, from the card table to the sort of the crowd scene with the dancers, and then you have the finale where you and Keanu are going one on one before he starts throwing stuff at you, and the stairs, obviously. But so, how much prep went into from the first day you got on set, or first day you got into like the training room, to like the finished product?
There's a hell of a lot of prep, but a lot of it I'm not privy to. I was busy just working on the character and doing makeup tests and all the rest of it. And even with the fight stuff, I mean, I messed about with Jeremy Marinas, the fight coordinator, coming up with some potential ideas for choreography that we put on a video and would give to Chad. But then the fight was designed on the set, which I was surprised about, to be honest. But I think it's because they were so busy with other stuff that sort of they knew I'd be able to do it and Keanu would be able to do it if we just made it up on the spot. But yeah, a lot of prep work. I mean, I was going and working with the dog because at one point they thought the dog was going to attack me. So I did a lot of training with the dog, which I enjoyed, but we never did it in the film.
Mm-hmm. And then, since you are working on this character, and you get to bring, this is a very serious film, but you get to bring a little bit of levity in your couple scenes when you're, when it's basically a standoff between the four of you. So can you speak on that a little bit, and like, what was your sort of approach to bringing sort of just the character, I guess?
I think my personality, anyway, I look for the humor in things. But I don't remember actually having a conversation with Chad about, oh, this guy's comic relief or anything like that. But I just thought, the way it was written, I knew I could, he's a character that enjoys the sound of his own voice, clearly. And I just thought, well, I feel I can have a bit of fun with this. And then when I was playing the part on the day, I would say to Chad, do you want me to bring it down a little bit? But he was loving it. So I even probably took it further. And yeah, I'm quite mischievous and have a good sense of humour. So I'll always look for that in a part a lot of the time, to be honest. I wouldn't say John Wick's a serious movie anyway. It has its serious moments, but it's an entertaining movie, right? So you've got to understand the tone of the film, and it's very, I don't want to say comic book because that means something else now. It's like a graphic novel. It's
Mm-hmm.
like an anime come to life. So I knew I could push it a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. It has its own sense of humor, and so like when you get to reunite with Donnie on this film, and I know you don't have a fight scene opposite him, sort of, but what was it, that sort of just like an old meeting between friends, or what's your sort of relationship with Donnie Yen?
My relationship with Donnie is that I have the utmost respect for one of the greatest martial arts actors to have ever lived, and I am such a huge fan, and I appreciate everything he says to me and all the advice he gives to me because he really does know what he's doing like no one else. There's Jackie Chan, there's Bruce Lee, there's Donnie Yen. It's right at the very top. So I'm a student to him, and it's kind of like he's the sensei and I'm the student. That's how the relationship that I have with him, and that's the way it is in my head anyway. He's he's the man. So
Yeah,
I want to learn from him.
yeah, no, that's, I mean, I can't
Yeah,
even imagine.
yeah.
And when I mean, I'm assuming they're shooting a lot more than what's actually being taken. So like, was there any particular moment that you remember that might have been deleted, or extended, or something that you remember specifically from being on set that didn't make it
There
into the
was,
final cut?
I suppose I can give it away, can't I? Probably won't get shouted at. There was a bit where Donnie Yen and me, he we have a little. He meets me on the stairs and stabs me with his sword, and that's not in the film.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he just sticks the sword in me a little bit, so I'm bleeding from somewhere I shouldn't be bleeding from at that point, probably. But I think because I was wet, you couldn't see it.
Mm. That would be cool. And then so when this film has like obviously this very definitive ending, but also a little open ending. But when you're on set, was that sort of an open secret, or was that
No, I
really
had
held
no
close?
idea. I was watching it at the premiere, and then
Uh-huh.
I saw the gravestone, and I was thinking, "What? He's dead? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Jesus Christ! Nobody told me about this."
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, no,
I was
that's
actually saying to them just before the film came on, "So when are you going to do number 5?" They still didn't say.
I stayed through the very last second of the credits to make sure there wasn't some. But and when you have they are spinning this off, and you spoke up a little bit about it. Um, a prequel film. They're doing Ballerina that's coming out next year. Would you be open to like revisiting this character, or like showing how he became the person we saw in John Wick Chapter 4?
Well, I wouldn't say no, would I? Well,
Yeah.
Scott, do you want to come back as a John Wick universe? No. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I'd love it, yeah, of course. But I won't hold my breath either because, Killer's a side character. I mean, look, there's a lot you could tell, and he's a fun character, and the audience certainly appreciated him. So if they did bring him back, I think it'd be a smart move. Um, but it's not up to me. It's up to Lionsgate.
Yeah. And working with like Chad and his company 8711 and them, it's like, and you worked on a lot of action films throughout your career, obviously. And then was there anything um different that you noticed about working with Chad and them? Or because I know they've been doing so much different work with John Wick, Atomic Blonde, and what Bullet Train, obviously. But like, was there anything that you picked up on just working with these guys now?
I mean, I've known them going back ages, and I've worked with them as second unit directors and all the rest of it. Yeah, we come from the same world of martial arts movies, and we've got the same. Uh, we're inspired by the same people, Jackie Chan movies, the Bruce Lee movies, the Japanese movies, and so it's just refreshing to work with people that know how to shoot action. Because normally you're thinking, are they going to mess this up in the edit? Is it going to be butchered? Is all this hard work for nothing because some editor's going to come along and mess the whole thing up? But with them, you know it's going to be done at high quality because they've got Final Cut. If they don't like, they'll tell the editor how to edit the action scenes.
And since you've done John Wick, you've done Bourne, you've done X-Men, you've done a little bit of. Is there a franchise or action franchise out there like Mission Impossible or something that you would like to see, or like get an opportunity to join or anything like that? Or is there something on your sort of wish list?
You say Mission Impossible. I mean, yeah, that those films are great. I do really appreciate them. I think Tom Cruise is amazing, and the way he puts his life on the line for his movies, you got to appreciate that. And I really do enjoy those films. So yeah, that is a good one. That is a good action franchise. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to keep you too long, but I did have to. I think the first thing I remember seeing you in was X-Men. But with Deadpool 3 sort of going into production, is that if they asked you to do a cameo or anything like that, was that something you would, or
Well,
would you want to
they
even like
should have
explore
brought
that
back.
character again?
They brought back Weapon 11 at the end of Deadpool 2 to kill him, which
Yeah.
I completely support. By the way, he needed to die because it was an abomination of the character. I was a bit upset that they didn't let. I mean, I would have done that for free, but probably they were filming it in a different country. But I would have happily, let him shoot me in the head for that bit again.
Uh, so what is your sort of relationship with that X Weapon 11 character, since it was so controversial when it came out initially? It was in 2009. So like now looking at it 15 something years later, what do you kind of think of him now? Or are you just glad to let him rest in peace?
Um, I mean, I tried to stay away from stunt work. You see, even though I've done a load of martial arts films, and cast directors probably seen me as a stuntman anyway, which is fine. But my agents would always say, "No, you can't do stunts because you need to be appreciated for your acting. And if you're doing stunts, that's just the way it is." Um, so I made them give me the credit of Weapon 11, but they wanted me to do the stunts. JJ Perry was the action coordinator. He really wanted me to do it, but it was just my way of legitimizing it.
Mm.
But essentially, I was the stunt double for Deadpool, and Ryan wasn't there. He was off filming this Sandra Bullock movie. So I don't even know if he knew what was going on, or how the character was going to be presented. Probably he was shocked when he found out. It was very different to Deadpool and the way it should be. Um, I thought it was weird. The rays coming out of the eyes and the claw and everything. Yeah, it was strange, but I was just there to do a job, and I got my SAG card. I had a good time in Sydney,
Mm.
and yeah, it was a bad version of that character. But Ryan Reynolds wasn't even there, so they had to sew his mouth shut because that
Mm.
was a way around his availability. I was sew his mouth shut so he doesn't have to talk. I mean, that's the way I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember. I mean, I saw that in high school. Obviously, the action is cool. That you don't think about anything else at the time. But no, I mean, it's. I mean, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking time to talk to me. John Wick's obviously awesome. So thank you so much, Scott. I really appreciate it.